Hey there, fellow humans. Tonight, we're diving into the wild world of taxes. Exciting, right? Stay with me, because this is about a French economist, Gabriel Zucman, who isn't afraid to shake things up. He's come up with a plan so audacious, so potentially game-changing, that it's got everyone talking. It's called the Global Billionaire Tax. Now, before you change the channel, this isn't your grandpa's boring tax talk. We're talking about potentially trillions of dollars stashed away in offshore accounts, yachts longer than football fields, and enough money to solve some of the world's biggest problems. Zucman argues that the ultra-wealthy, those billionaires with more money than they could ever spend, aren't paying their fair share. His solution? A global tax on the mega-rich. Sounds simple, right? Well, as with anything involving money and power, it's a whole lot more complicated than that. But stick around, because we're about to break down exactly what Zucman's proposal is, why it's creating such a stir, and what it could mean for the rest of us. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. What exactly is this global billionaire tax? In a nutshell, Zucman proposes a yearly tax on the wealth of the world's richest people. We're not just talking about their income here, but their total assets, stocks, real estate, yachts, you name it. The idea is to target the top 0.01%, the billionaires who control a disproportionate amount of global wealth. Zucman suggests a tiered system, meaning the more wealth you have, the higher the tax rate. For example, someone worth $10 billion might pay 2%, while someone worth $100 billion could pay 3% or more. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about one country taxing its own billionaires. Zucman envisions a global agreement where countries work together to implement and enforce this tax. This is crucial because it prevents billionaires from simply moving their money to tax havens and dodging the system. So, why all the fuss about taxing billionaires? Well, according to Zucman and other proponents, it all boils down to fairness and addressing inequality. Think about it. While millions struggle to make ends meet, a select few are launching themselves into space and buying islands. The gap between the ultra-rich and everyone else is wider than ever, and it's only getting wider. The global billionaire tax aims to address this by generating a massive influx of revenue. We're talking potentially trillions of dollars that could be used to fund essential public services, tackle climate change, reduce poverty, and invest in education and healthcare. Imagine the possibilities. Proponents argue that this isn't about punishing success, but about ensuring that everyone contributes their fair share to society. They argue that extreme wealth inequality is not only morally wrong, but also economically unsustainable, leading to social unrest and instability. By redistributing some of that wealth, they believe we can create a more just and equitable world for everyone. Section 4. Billionaires and critics push back. Now, as you can imagine, not everyone is jumping for joy at the prospect of a global billionaire tax. Unsurprisingly, the billionaires themselves are among the most vocal critics. They argue that they already pay their fair share of taxes and that such a tax would stifle innovation and discourage investment. Some critics, including economists and policymakers, question the feasibility of implementing such a complex global agreement. They point to the challenges of international cooperation, the potential for tax avoidance, and the risk of unintended consequences. Others argue that it would discourage entrepreneurship and harm economic growth. Then there's the philosophical debate about the role of government and the limits of taxation. Opponents of the tax argue that it's a slippery slope towards excessive government control and that it undermines individual liberty. They believe that wealth redistribution is not the role of government and that it discourages personal responsibility and hard work. Section 5. A vision for a fairer future. The global billionaire tax is a radical idea, there's no doubt about it. It sparked a heated debate about wealth, inequality, and the role of government in the 21st century. Whether it ever becomes a reality remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. Gabriel Zucman has ignited a conversation that's not going away anytime soon. He's challenged us to rethink our assumptions about wealth, fairness, and the kind of world we want to live in. Zucman's vision is a world where extreme wealth inequality is a thing of the past, where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, and where we use our collective resources to solve the world's most pressing problems. It's a bold vision, and while the path ahead may be uncertain, one thing is for sure. The conversation about how we tax the super rich is just getting started.